Well, Sean, hello and welcome to a very hot recording studio.
Yes,
I
just
think
a little bit.
I think it's between 33 and 35, depending on where you are in my house. My wife's running around with a thermometer as if this is going to
She
help.
can't catch you.
No,
Where's she going to put that then?
God knows. Very funny.
I've got a frappe here. Look, there's one of my.
Well, I've got a glass of water. I haven't even got my customary cup of tea because it's, although that's supposed to be good for drinking a cup of tea is supposed to be good for regulating heat by some strange thing. But first of all, apologies to viewers and listeners for any background noise, but I think it's reasonable that both of us have a fan going. So that's all that is, nothing else. And I'd like to talk about two eyebrows and a black T-shirt, if I may.
So I saw that response.
Which I thought was absolutely brilliant from the leader of the opposition.
He came back though. Did you see his response?
No,
online?
I didn't know. What did he come back with?
He said it's blue actually.
Was that
response
it?
Online, yeah.
Oh, weak material.
He's quite good. I don't like her anyway. So I
thought it was quite funny. You got to have a little bit of a laugh now.
You have a bit of a laugh, but she was pretty vicious yesterday. But that's another pod.
That is another pod, and I would say she gave Starmer just desserts for.
But that's another pod.
They've thrown her.
Come on, move on.
When did you become the host? Be quiet.
What's the main?
So anyway, about two eyebrows and a blue T-shirt. I thought, let's make the assumption that he is going to be uncontested, or even if he's contested, he's going to win the contest to be effectively Prime Minister. So let's say he's a shoo-in in 3 or 4 weeks' time. And it's just rather bizarre, isn't it, to have this situation where you have a guy who didn't even stand in the last election, who suddenly will be at number 10. But we've discussed that before. I think it's important to have sort of some sense of what we think his key takeouts on the main policies would be. Unfortunately, unless he's going to suddenly share that with us, which I doubt, because he wanted 3 months to prepare, in inverted commas. I think we just sort of try and guess, really, on basis we don't really know much else. So I thought, well, probably the one that helped to bring Starmer down was defence. So I think Burnham did sort of hint that he would look to be funding the dip at the level that the sort of senior military guys want. So, what's your take? I think he will. I think he'll try and put that one to bed quite early and find the money somehow. So what do you think?
Well, I think he will. I agree with you. I think that the issue is going to be where he gets that money from, because it's quite a significant chunk, isn't it? As they say, it's a bit like a murder case, isn't it? They say that the first few weeks or month or so is when a new incumbent at number 10 can get their work done, can get things through the House, and it's a honeymoon period and what have you. So I agree with you there. I think he probably will. Quite where he's going to find that money from, I'm not sure, unless because he's already, we'll probably come on to this in a minute, but he's already supposedly committed to the fiscal rules that Rachel Reeves has in place, and so he can't borrow anymore, he can't tax anymore.
On the basis he actually doesn't know what they are.
Well, that is a problem, isn't it? Yeah.
Did you see that one?
I did see that.
Yes. I'm not going to go into the detail.
No, what a cop out that was. Yeah. Oh no. You wouldn't expect me to talk about that before I have the chance to see the books.
I do love it when that happens.
I don't know, where do you think he's going to get the money from? Do you think
funnily enough, we had a bit of an argument last week about this. I think the simplest thing to do without wasting eons of time is just to say to all departments, right, you're going to get a haircut. You're going to get a haircut of 1.5%, 2%, whatever it is, because then everyone can lobby, everyone can complain, but that's it. Keep the Treasury happy, because net's all the same. And I think that would be the most sensible thing to do. Just get on with it.
I suppose if he's got new, he's reshuffled the cabinet and got new ministers and they're all new to their jobs, then they're more likely to take that in principle anyway, than they would do further down the line when they've gone native and embedded themselves within
Well, it'll probably be, you imagine the sort of, normally a 20-minute interview, isn't it? Well, I'd like to select you for, Minister of Health, Secretary of State for Health. Just a small issue of 1.5% cut, but that wouldn't trouble you, would it? No, not at all. And on the basis that a new minister probably wouldn't have a clue anyway.
Well, without picking his move, there's rumours around that he's just going to put Healy back in at defence.
Well, why wouldn't you? He was universally popular.
Yeah. I think that'd probably be a wise move and give him what he wants, basically. Yeah. So defence, have we? So I think we're both agreed on that, which makes a change. Yeah.
Well, why don't you choose the next category? Where do you want to go next?
Well, I was looking at some of the more bizarre things because he's made great play of all the things he's done in done in Manchester and how he was going to treat. He's almost talking about yesterday. He was talking about moving half of his Downing Street operation to Manchester, which I think is going to please a lot of people who are based in London who find themselves having to up sticks like Channel 4 did.
BBC, isn't it?
BBC did. They went to Salford, didn't they? Absolutely.
Yeah, Salford Keys, yeah.
But one of the peculiar things that he had in mind was to give all 14 to 16-year-olds a bus pass. I don't know whether you saw that. Do you think that's a good idea?
Well,
you've not looked at that one, have you?
I don't think it's a bad idea, but what's the rationale on the basis that they can't afford to get on the buses?
Oh, I've no idea. I just think he's just decided that might be a nice thing to do. It's all sorts of things going on at this end. You'll have to excuse the noise in the background.
That's fine. It's because doors are open and all that sort of thing. That's fine. So I think, yes, I was thinking of slightly grander things that we might consider.
Well, you fire away with what you had in mind.
I thought at a high level, what's his economic policy going to be like? Is he going to be a sort of fiscal driver? Or is he going to basically say, right, I want to raise the tax take again, and I'm going to increase rates of tax, albeit, he said he'll stick to the manifesto pledges, or is he going to try and do it with the sort of wealth taxes?
Well, he has said he's going to do an introduce a wealth tax, hasn't he? And I think this is part of the debate that's going on at the moment. I know you're very engaged with about whether he appoints Ed Miliband as Chancellor or otherwise. Not your top of your Christmas card list, is he, Ed Miliband?
I wouldn't say he's ever been on my Christmas card list, but I would think that I think things are being spun like he might, but I think that job is going to Wes Streeting. But more broadly though, it's his instinct to just tax more. How a little bit like the McFadden quote, just to try and work out ways he can tax the wealthy more. And really, the only thing that's left is a wealth tax, and we could argue that, but the jury's out on whether that's ever effective. The second thing is this idea of raising the capital gains rates so that we go from the basic rates of tax, more or less, to the higher rates of tax. The trouble is that never works. You get the Laffer curve come in because people just don't sell their assets. So that's a bit daft. And then the other one is inheritance tax. So do you look to raise the rates even more, or do you try and broaden the base of inheritance tax, which would be not a very Labour policy? So, but he's got to go for wealth, isn't he? If he's not going to go for income, is he? Would he surprise everyone and say, no, we're going to cut the size of the state?
Well, I think he's been very silly, actually, to a degree, because he's done exactly what this government did when they came into power. He's boxed himself in before he's got to number 10, and it's ridiculous. And he can't get it, there's no way he's going to be able to use the excuse that Rachel Reeves, I didn't know about the box until I got in. And I say, it's just going to look absurd now. But I think he's been really daft to have done that. But I also think that he's, you were talking about him, because I think he's had to weave and weave and weave to try and please so many different constituencies. For example, when he was mayor of Manchester, he was very, very pro-Europe and very in favour of rejoining the European Union. Then he goes to stand in Makerfield, which he knows has voted majority Brexit at the referendum, and he's weaved into saying that, oh, there's no plans at all to do anything. Now he's got back to, he's in now. Now he's got to the parliamentary party. He's got to play the socialist with the parliamentary party, but he's also got to play the pro-European with the parliamentary party. And I think what people are forgetting, they're talking about, he's the radical king of the north and this, that, and the other. I think what people are forgetting is the fact he was part of a Blair New Labour government. He was never a radical. He may have done things on the edges in Manchester, but I don't think he's, taking buses back into public ownership. It's no great, it's not like putting up income tax, or I think he's going to be much more traditional than people give, not people give him credit for. People think he will be. And also, I think he's quite lucky to a degree in some of the things that he's inheriting at the moment from Starmer, looking as though they're going in the right direction. And, hopefully, fingers crossed and God willing, looks as though there might be a settlement to the Iran war and also Ukraine in the near future. That's looking pretty promising.
Okay, well, look, but let's try and go back to what we think he'll do, though.
Yeah.
So we're on the subject of economy, and I'll include in that borrowing and taxation.
Yeah.
So he has boxed himself in on borrowing because he's talked about the fiscal rules, and there is no more room. It's as simple as that. And the other alternative, as I said, do you think he'll look to cut spending? I won't get into the weeds of where he would. Do you think he'll look to do that?
I think he will. Yeah, where that's the weeds. Where he's going to have problems, the same as Starmer did, getting through a cut to the benefit.
But do you think in the House they've had a bit of a wake up call now, because that sort of rebellion was in their first year, and it was everything was rosy, and they were still doing well in the opinion polls. Now they know they were just about to be trounced. I'm not sure they'll have the balls to rebel, because a lot of them know that that'll be the end of their seats.
Well,
if they don't support some. So I think he will cut spending. I think he will try the wealth taxes. They won't work, but I think he will try the wealth taxes as a sop in the argument. And so I think that will happen.
So I think he'll try, but we're on different pages as to whether he'll succeed on that.
Okay, and I'll try one more because conscious of time. This whole idea of public ownership, is that a pipe dream? He started with the water industry, didn't he? Yeah. Well, he's probably going to inherit Thames by default, but forget that. There's the other water providers. Do you think he'll seriously look at doing that? Or do you think he'll say, I have looked at the books and it's not an option?
Yeah, I think he'll take back into ownership some of the rail companies as they collapse. And I think that's happening with a few. And I think that I don't think he'll want to hold on to, I think we discussed it briefly before, I don't think he's going to want to hold on to any of the water companies. God, look at the investment that's required there. Where's he going to find the money to do that?
But he did say that, didn't he? He did say he wanted to renationalise water.
Yeah, I think that's a pipe dream. I agree with what you said first time around.
And
railways,
just to remind,
I think, is slightly different, because I think you can make economies there that, if you're not paying out to shareholders and run it as a national system, like you did with the buses in Manchester, I think that's the template for railways, but not.
Well, that's
not
already
water.
decreed. Starmer, because the railways work on a franchise, and Starmer's already said that as the franchises wind down, they won't be bidding them out again. They'll take them under.
Yeah.
But anyway, so railways will happen. Thames Water may well happen, but that'll be about the limit of it when the reality hits. Yeah,
I think so.
Okay. Well, in the time we've covered 3 areas. We'll come back to the rest, but I do agree, perhaps next week we should try and predict his cabinet.
That'll be fun.